to start at the count of, we still have, okay, let me send the last link to people before we start, that we are airborne.
We're also live on YouTube.
On YouTube, thank you. Okay. Okay. Before you need to start your recording now.
Yes.
Good afternoon and welcome to Touchstone Business Sustainability Series. My name is Tunde Ojo and I lead the Touchstone team. It's such a wonderful afternoon in Lagos, Nigeria. Wherever you are joining us all over the world, it's such a great opportunity to have you, to host you. For those who are just joining us for the first time, Business Sustainability series is an initiative to dimension the key drivers of businesses change in business and in our environment, the economic environment, to help business leaders, thought leaders, brand managers, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, to grapple with the challenges of change and how to, make the best use of change in such a way that their businesses will not only survive, but will thrive in a very difficult and challenging environment. And so I welcome you to this all-important conversation. This is the leadership conversation with a gentleman I've known for quite some years, Mr. Mojeed. I mean, we're going to have a very good time this sharing, wonderful afternoon. And for those who are also wondering what is Touchstone is all about. Touchstone is a local ideas and brand management company, and we're in business to make our clients to be more successful, to thrive, not just to survive in a chaotic, dynamic, changing marketplace. Once again, welcome. And these are the ground rules, the ground norms. You will feel free to make comments as well as questions in the chat room as we have this conversation. But after our guest has finished his presentation, we're going to have opportunity to interact, to ask those questions, and if necessary, interventions. Once again, my name is Tunde Ojo. We have a distinguished guest this afternoon who is, we consider ourselves very, very privileged, and I'm going to unveil a brief, very brief bio of his very shortly. His name is Olusegun Mojeed, and this gentleman is the president, the newly elected president and chairman of Governing Council, Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, FCIPM. He became elected on May the 26th, 2021 as the 20th president. This is a position that, great minds in this country, have occupied, like Chief Michael Omolayole, a man who defined personnel management, HR for years. Of course, Dr. Christopher Kolade and the very likes of Victor Eburajolo and Oladimeji Alo. Ladies and gentlemen, we have very robust intellectual fecundity this afternoon. Let me quickly unveil our guest, and then you can delve into the subject of today's leadership conversation. This is a special, very, very special time. Now, Olusegun Mojeed is FCIPM, that is a fellow of Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, an alumnus of the prestigious Yale School of Management. He's also, just like I've told you, the president and chairman of Governing Council, Charter Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, FCIPM, and the executive consultant, a group head of practice at Beverly Consulting Group, the HR company he co-founded with his wife in 1994. He's a certified New World Kirkpatrick Learning Effectiveness Evaluator. Segun is also a fellow of the Institute of Training and Development. He's also a 2006 CIPM Merit Award winner for his outstanding contributions to development and professionalism of HR profession. Olusegun Mojeed is a Center for Management Development, CMD certified trainer, consultant, is a member of the Association for Talent Development, ATD, and is on the faculty of the University of Lagos Business School, ULBS, as an industry experienced subject matter expert. Segun is a thoroughbred licensed global HR learning and talent development professional with over 3 decades of multi-sectoral experience and core competencies across the 15 HR value chain. Wow. I don't want to give, in terms of his work experience, he's worked in banking, in consulting, in V Mobile, now Airtel, and in all those areas, he has led the team and has done a great job of it. Now, Olusegun Mojeed is an author, is an avid reader, is a knowledge seeker, and a knowledge user. His new book, Growing People, has received rave reviews, and the e-book is on Amazon Kindle. He studied political science, first degree, and a postgraduate, a master's in industrial relations and personnel management. He is married to Molara, and they are blessed with beautiful and godly children. His hobbies include swimming, fishing, football, golf, reading, writing, growing people. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you to Touchstone BSS 48 with Under Leadership Conversation with Olusegun Mojeed. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our guest. Mr. Mojeed, you're welcome. And I must start on the note of congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
In a country of over 200 million, you are a very fortunate professional to be the 20th president and chairman of the Governing Council of CIPM. So we start on the note of congratulations, and then you can then delve into the business of today. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
For joining.
Yeah, thank you so much. I believe, I'm being heard loud and clear. You can hear me loud and clear. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be back here at the Touchstone BSS. I'm going to briefly, I have some slides, but I know that the question and answer session and Mr. Ojo's probing questions, what they call interview, I'm sure we also bring out more on what we are trying to do today. But quickly, let me just go to this. It is leadership to be responsible. And that is why I'm going back to this issue of COVID-19. Safety first, ladies and gentlemen. As leaders, we need to lead from the front. And I'm trusting that everyone is keeping safe. Once again, the protocols are not grievous. I plead with you. And once again, also for Touchstone and all of us on this call, I want to say thank you for bringing me back here. The other thing you are seeing there is TGF and PGF. I want to say it again. No amount of grammar is spoken here today. Don't forget the God factor. We are here because we slept last night and God woke us up this morning. So please, and I want you to know everywhere I go, whether speaking locally or abroad, you can't, that logo you have there is never missing. Let me quickly start on this note. Leadership. I'm going to share a few slides with you on my take on leadership. This particular one by Patrick Lencioni. actually got me from the onset because it resonates very well with what I have always believed. And I keep believing on leadership. It says leadership can never be about the leader more than the led. In other words, if you are a leader, your leadership is about the people you are leading. It's not about yourself. It's not even about your immediate family, except if your leadership is at the home front, because again, we have what we call leaders at all levels, leadership at all levels. We have what we call situational leadership. So if you are the head of the family, then you can then concentrate on that family. But when you assume leadership roles in corporate entities, even in the civil service or in an association like CIPM, leadership can no longer be about you, but about the people you are leading. And then Patrick Lencioni says that if we can restore the collective attitude that leadership is meant to be a joyful, yes, you can underline that, then difficult, and then selfless responsibility, we would then see organizations, no matter whether in the private sector or in the public sector or the non-profits, becoming more successful, members of such organizations becoming more engaged and fulfilled, and society at large becoming more optimistic and hopeful. I keep encouraging us that we should not be distracted by the way some people have bastardized leadership. Leadership is about adding value. A leader either adds value or gets out of the way for those who will add value. It's as simple as that. And severally I've had to define what value is. I'm not sure my time today will permit me. My take number 2 is that leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. That is why everywhere I go, I remember Warren Bennis saying that born leaders are very few, if there are at all. In other words, leadership skills, how to become effective leaders, are learnable skills. They are learnable skills. Time will not permit me to go through to how we started this. This is not, for instance, this is not the first time I've been called president. I have been president for my village society. I have been president in my school day, a president of students union, and during my days in Lagos State Polytechnic, I have been even president of local clubs and associations. So those ones were preparing one, to assume greater responsibility. And all those experiences put together, we put one in good stead to lead effectively. Do not forget, today we're just having a conversation around leadership. So permit me, my take number 3 is this from John Maxwell. If a man says he leads and then looks back and finds no one following, sorry, the guy has just been taking a walk. He was just doing his morning exercise. Believe me. In other words, leadership is about leading people, leading from the front. My brother Shola Oshunkaya released my latest article, I think about 2 days ago. And there I was just sharing, something about what I call, of course, it's not originally mine, the millennial baby boomer, MBB, the millennial baby boomer. And one of the things is that, look, you cannot succeed in anything without taking people with you. I read a book long ago by John Novak, and it talked about taking people with you. Then you can scarcely succeed in anything if you don't have people follow. That is my take number 3. And this video, this short clip takes me, Deepo, you need to let me know. I can't remember I clicked the audio function. So if it doesn't play, please say it. I will stop sharing. I will go back again quickly. This takes me to one of my best, preaching on leadership. And believe me, I'm not a pastor, but I try as much as possible to live what I preach. It is about ethical leadership, because there is no way we're going to have leadership conversation that will not talk about it. Some years back, I think at the height of the last national election, some guys started, sending some balderdash through the social media. They were trying to say, look, if a man has integrity and does not have competence, give me the man that has competence and without integrity. I shut them down big time. I wrote a whole article on that one, that please, without integrity, don't even look for competence. Without integrity, without ethics, without morality. In Bezali Consulting, we have a program we call Leadership ARM. Leadership ARM, agility, resilience, and morality. Without morality, don't even talk about leadership. So let me see, if it's not playing, please scream, and I will go back to use my audio listen.
Sound is okay.
When you think of ethics, what comes to mind? Perhaps integrity, truthfulness, or compassion for others? These traits are always important, and they take on even more significance when it comes to leadership. Ethics define character, and a leader sets the standard. Ethical leaders choose to create a positive culture. Being a leader is about far more than possessing the motivation and perseverance to succeed. The true measure of leadership is accomplishing your goals while staying true to yourself and others. In this SMART tip, let's take a look at 4 components of ethical leadership. The first component of ethical leadership is honesty. Simply put, ethical leaders tell the truth. You should always strive to keep the promises you've made to others. You'll surely gain respect because both your employees and upper management will know that they can always rely on you. Duplicity and secrecy are corrosive. Openness and honesty are incredibly helpful and constructive. Another component of ethical leadership is respect. Ethical leaders truly respect their employees, their opinions, their time, their abilities, and their effort. Show respect for others through compassion and empathy. Empower your team members and show them that you value their contributions. Another component of ethical leadership is fairness. Ethical leaders make every effort to be fair in their assessments and decisions. Set clear standards for all to follow, and ensure that everyone receives equitable treatment. Finally, ethical leaders demonstrate a commitment to community. Look for ways to connect with others and help others. Take the time to build strong relationships. Remember, consistent engagement with the community in which you work offers enormous, long-lasting benefits. Certainly, the news is replete with stories of those who choose manipulation and greed, and history is chock full of leaders who amassed power and wealth while exploiting others. Ethical leadership is a choice, one that puts you and your company on a far better path. The truth is, you really can do well by doing good.
Let me quickly follow that up with this. I call them basically my own 3 eyes of leadership effectiveness. The first one is being intentional. Intentional. Number 2, a leader must practice inclusiveness. And let me quickly say this, inclusiveness is not just about gender. Inclusiveness is about generation. Inclusiveness is about ability. Inclusiveness is about ethnicity. It's not just about gender. A leader must know how to harness the energy in the room. And for me, I've worked in teams like forever, and I love doing that a lot. And of course, integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, warning, serious warning. If number 3 is missing, please don't bother looking for that. Don't even bother starting. Quickly, that's just I want to share with us. Intentionality for me is because a hunter who chases 2 rabbits at the same time catches neither. That's all I just want to say there. Ladies and gentlemen, part of this conversation is for us to know that leadership is responsibility. Leadership is not about going to Abuja to share whatever. Leadership is not about struggling to get into the National Assembly so that we can be going around in whatever. No, leadership, ladies and gentlemen, is not position, it's responsibility. Leaders want to serve others, to do whatever necessary to bring about something good for people they lead. They understand that sacrifice and suffering are inevitable in the pursuit of serving others. I can tell you already, we are already about 15 days in office. My day job is already suffering. I'm even told that my colleagues in the office have come together to say, well, if Mr. Mojeed is not going to be serving CIPM alone, let him just surrender his office. I am telling you. So it's part of the sacrifice. However, some leaders just have this funny feeling, and this is an invalid feeling, that they want to be rewarded. That we have been here, we've been serving this institute, for instance. No, it should be on merit. It should be on what are you bringing to the table. It should be on what value can you add to take us from where we are to where we are going. Leadership, ladies and gentlemen, I keep saying it is responsibility. For instance, developing the leadership team. That is what is expected. The leader simply must take personal responsibility and also participate in actively. In fact, I'm sure the question and answer will bring it forth. We ran for election on the platform of what we call MIDAS. The M in our MIDAS is mentoring and grooming the next generation of leaders for our institute, the CIPM. And that I'm going to spearhead, I'm going to lead, I cannot delegate that. That is what we say, my lawyer friends will say, delegatus non potest delegare. I am not going to, I'm going to be in the forefront to lead, and see how our people grow. Also, leaders learn how to manage his immediate associates and then lead them to manage their own associates. If something is wrong with your immediate associate, let such a thing be made known to him, be made known to her. If she's willing to change, if he's willing to change, fine. If not, like I said, a leader either add value or get out of the way. If you are leading people and your environment has become toxic, then as a leader, you need to do something about it. A leader also, part of the responsibility is to have what I call the uncomfortable conversation. It's a skill on its own. It's called the skill of confronting. Take note, it's not the skill of confrontation. It's the skill of confronting. And what it means that you are, as a leader, you're able to see a situation that is out of hand. You're able to one-on-one or eyeball to eyeball, tell who's responsible. This cannot be accepted. This is not acceptable. And this is why it's not acceptable. That is the leadership art of confronting. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm rounding up, I also want to tell you that leadership is communication. One of my favorite quotes is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. I'm sure Mr. Ojo will bear me witness on this quote. He says, "What you are, shout so loudly in my ears, I cannot hear what you say." Leaders must be consistent in their communication. The word of mouth must be in sync with their body language. In fact, do as I do is even more, is better than do as I say. I mean, we as leaders, we are the epistles our followers read, and we must live such a consistent life. One thing before I go is what I call the art of vulnerability. Leaders, nobody is saying you should come and be James Bond. Nobody is saying you should come and be know-it-all. Absolutely no. In fact, one of the beautiful qualities of a leader is a leader who can actually raise up his hand and say, guys, I can't do this alone. Let's come together and do it together. A leader who can ask the why question. Nelson Mandela, I have learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over your fear. The fear of you don't want to be exposed, the fear of you want to be masculine, you want to be manly. Even ladies now, they also want to be masculine. Men don't cry. It's a lie. If you don't know, please tell your team members you don't know. Delegate to them to go and find out. The art of vulnerability is a leadership art. Some people have said it's humility, Some people have said it's emotional intelligence, but that is what I owe that to this great author, Brené Brown. She's my best author when it comes to vulnerability. That's an opera there. Showing vulnerability at work, ladies and gentlemen, is not weakness. Rather, it's an act of courage that can lead to greater triumphs for you and your team. It is accepting uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. Hello? In order to move forward in a positive manner. Of course, courage and vulnerability is the heart of the matter. It is the heart of the matter. It's about standing up and being counted. That's what vulnerability is about. It's all about. Vulnerability is about self-awareness. It is when you are self-aware, that's why some people are calling it emotional intelligence. You know that self-awareness, self-control, and so on are parts of the emotional intelligence skill. Vulnerability is self-leadership. Do you know yourself? The man, I call it the man in the mirror. How often do we stand before the mirror to tell the truth to ourselves and know that you admit? So, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, a leader is the CEO, the Chief Accountability Officer of his organization, no matter how small, of his family, of his church, of his community. Because there's nothing like joint accountability, ladies and gentlemen. Even the scripture says that we will all appear before the judgment seat, and every one of us. So that is the case with leadership. The buck stops at the leader's table. And that's why Theodore Roosevelt, I think that's the 21st American president, or the 26th, he said that if you could kick the person in pants responsible for most of your trouble, you wouldn't sit for a month. Check the person in the mirror most of the time. That's what a leader should be doing. A leader has no right to be pointing fingers. And the last thing I want to say is that a leader must listen. A leader must listen. As I round up, you can ask your question. I'm not going to play the next video, but I can summarize it to you. That even in listening or listenability is graded. You have the active listening, you have the attentive listening, and so on and so forth. The highest of them is what you call empathetic listening. Don't forget, empathy is another skill of emotional intelligence. Empathetic listening. When a leader is able to put himself in the shoes of others. I know a lot of people are talking about followership, but the conversation today is about leadership. It's about leadership. And I want to believe that everyone on this call, you have heard me. I am not playing this video. Please permit me. I will move on. Thank you very much. And God bless you. I'm sure questions and answers will bring up some of those things. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of the presentation. Let us now move on to interact. At times, presentation is like a one-way radio. So we can now move ahead. I will stop sharing. Your question can then come. Yes, that is okay. A moment. Yes, this is where we are now. I hope I'm in touch with everybody. Your place looks so quiet. The audience is so disciplined. Nobody is bombing us except Deepak. Hello, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mojeed. What a wonderful session. What a wonderful time. What a wonderful conversation.
Did I go away, sir? Did I go away at any point in time?
No, not at all. You're
okay.
Can you hear me? Can you
loud and clear?
Yeah.
Loud and clear. I can hear you.
Throughout the talk. Thank you. Thank you very much. And the conversation is going to start now. But I think it's just jolly well good. Today is Democracy Day. We should not forget that today is Democracy Day. So I'd like to I want to thank all of you. I want to congratulate you on Freedom Day for our country, Democracy Day for our June 12th. In spite of the challenges that we face, we are a few people. We will be free. We will continue to be free. So we keep hope alive in spite of the challenges that we have. So I want to say Happy Democracy Day to all of you. I hope we'll have enough time to get back to the issue of leadership as it pertains to the leadership of the Nigerian state. And Mr. Mojeed is the man with a very strong opinions in that way. I hope that will not be enough to break our conversation. But I want to thank Mr. Olusegun Mojeed on behalf of all of you. I'd like to applaud his thought leadership. I've known him for years as a consultant. I've known him for years as a trainee, as well as a friend. And I wasn't disappointed. But let me quickly, for those who are joining us late, and I want to encourage people to join us pretty early so that we can have fantastic conversation. It started by, quotation from Patrick Lencioni, and it said, leadership can never be about the leader. I just hope all our leaders will understand that it is always about the led, by Patrick Lencioni. He was quoting from his book, The Motive. He said, leadership also is about adding values, adding value, Or also said leadership and learning are indispensable, that both they are not mutually exclusive, that both of them go together. He also told us that Warren Bernis, that is, and I think it's Harvard Authority on Leadership, said that born leaders are few, that leadership and learning are indispensable to each other, quoting from J.F. Kennedy, and saying that the skill of leadership can be learned. Then his third take is that if a man says he leads, quoting from John C. Maxwell, then he looks back and finds no one following. He said, sorry, the man is just taking a walk in the park. All right, so you can't lead without people following you. Then he moved on to ethical leadership, and he said to us, without integrity, no leadership. And he spoke about what obtained in his company, Beverly Consulting, about leadership ARM. Then he gave us a sound view video on the 4 components of ethical leadership. One is honesty, and he said duplicity is corrosive. The second is respect, talking about compassion and empathy. Then the third is fairness, and then the fourth is commitment to community. All right? And the gentleman in the video said you can do well by doing good. Now, Nigeria, as a country, we need to learn that you can do well by doing good. That doing well and doing good are not mutually exclusive. This is very important. And then he talks about the 3 I's of leadership: intentionality, inclusiveness, and this is not limited to gender, talking about generational and some other things. And then lastly, integrity. He said if the third aspect, that is integrity, is missing, there is no leadership. Forget about every other thing. Then he went ahead to say leadership is responsibility and not position. Leaders must serve others. They must understand sacrifice and suffering. And in developing that further, he said developing the leadership team, growing people, is sacrosanct, is very critical to leadership. Managing associates and making them to manage others, it's very, very highly critical, very important. And then the third aspect is having difficult and uncomfortable conversation. Going on to tell us about assertiveness. And finally, he cruised to a close by saying leadership is conversation. Of course, it's communication. That is one aspect that I again and again I personally cherish, in addition to the integrity in leadership. Then he quoted Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of the most quoted Americans. What you are, shout so loudly in my ears, I cannot hear what you say. Finally, he cruised on to vulnerability, and quoting Nelson Mandela, saying that learn that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. And talked about Brené Brown, talking about vulnerability, self-awareness, and finally saying that there is nothing like joint accountability. Leaders must be accountable. And he closed by telling us of the importance of having a good conversation, starting with listening. I hope you have listened through all of this. Now it's time, for us to interact. And please, it's already, we have it right on, I have it. Thank you, sir, Tosin Oluyemi, for this presentation on leadership. Thank you, Tosin, for your response. So my question is, what are the proven methods of dealing with irresponsible leadership? What are the proven methods of dealing with irresponsible leadership? So you can take that on to the lines and says, thank you, sir, your excellency, on this presentation. Obviously, it's referring to Mr. Olusegun Mojeed as the president and the chairman of Council of Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, CIPM. Ekere Basi, thank you, sir, for this very insightful presentation. Thank you for Ekere for weighing. It is DWIN inclusion, applause, with some emojis there. Mr. Yemi Shotade, are you here? Somebody is asking that question. Thank you, Mr. Mojeed, for this presentation. That's Abiodun Ogunkanmi. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Then thank you, everyone. Shegun Mojeed himself is already responding. John Abraham is saying hello, sir, and I think he's raising his hand. I'll give you an opportunity to intervene. I hope that we'll make it very brief so that we can make the best use of time. Layomi, thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful presentation. Thank you for weighing in. When leaders fail, what should the followers do? Another question from the same person. Professor Olukemi, excuse me, thank you, sir. You, IJ Nwobodo, thank you, fellow Mojeed. I mean, must be a member of the CIPM for calling him fellow. He's not just a fellow, he's also your president. Thank you. Maxwell Pan, His Excellency, thank you for this presentation. Thank you, Maxwell, for weighing in. Then Johnny Brown said, I have a question. You can send the question in. If you have the time, then we'll allow you, to intervene. Grace Majakodomi, thank you, sir, for this great and very insightful presentation. Thank you, Grace, for your comment. Now, we are getting back to you, Mr. Shegun Mojeed. Mr. President, Chartered Institute, it's a great time to have this conversation. So can you first answer those questions, and then we can continue with our interaction. Fortunately for us, your presentation has been brief so that we can have a very robust engagement. Thank you.
Quick one. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'm also reading the chat room, and I have a couple of colleagues and friends. Time will not permit us to. I'm sure Mr. Ojo will recognize all of us either at the beginning or at the end of the day. Let me quickly take two things response. Irresponsible leadership, either at the corporate level or at the level of government. There are checks and balances in place. At the corporate level, I've seen CEOs being asked to go, MDs of organizations being asked to go. The board sit down. Recently, CBN, sacked the entire board of a financial institution. Whatever meaning you are reading to that, whether it is political, whether it is economical, there is structure in place. That is why I keep saying it loud and clear. Let us build institutions. Let us build structures. When you come to government level, let me take, for instance, Nigeria. Don't let us go too far. Or you want to take the US. The US, after Mr. Trump spent 4 years, he was eased out of office because he was doing things the electorate, what they don't like. Now, let's come back home to Nigeria, whether we like it or not, no matter how imperfect our democracy is, we are in a democracy. Election at the federal level, at the state level, I don't know how they do it at the local government level now, is every 4 years. So, dear followers, dear electorate, when it is time to vote, go out there. I know a lot of us who say, do they count our votes and so on and so forth. I can tell you that if we all go out and vote, and if there's a glaring rigging of elections, there's still a third arm of government. I believe in this nation. I believe in this nation, no matter what anybody says. In fact, the election of Mr. Biden, I can read it from social media. Some people believe it is rigged. So that is America for you. That is the mother of all democracies for you. Therefore, in Nigeria, we are in a democracy. Military rule is not an option. Some of us grew up knowing the military rule, but some people are so young these days, they don't know what is called military rule. And the worst of democracies is better than a military rule. And since we are signed to this constitution, what the followership would do. If our representatives in our National Assembly, in our state assemblies are not bold enough to activate the impeachment clause, then we will have to wait for another election year. And then we will go out there and vote. We will not leave the voting to the Agberos. We will not leave the voting to the Jankara people. The elite should come out and let their vote speak. And the advantage this is that we are in the era of social media. And I can tell you, if we use social media positively, so irresponsible leadership by who? Who says? Is it by the people who voted them in, or by a few people who have the advantage of ruling the social media? So we need to really examine that. Or by the things happening around us. If that country is in a democracy, they should go back to the ballot box, or they should talk to their representatives to activate the impeachment clause. There is no other way. And quote me, as for me, I say there is no other way to it. And don't forget that I occupy a very sensitive position now. So, and I can be quoted anywhere. Nigeria, for instance, is a democracy. The ballot box is a solution. That is it. When leaders fail, that's the same question from the same person. If it's a democracy, please go back to the ballot box, or your representatives should stand up to their duties. I learned the president said it in one of his interviews that even the constitutional conference, the constitutional amendment we are asking for, is the work of the National Assembly. I hope we all know that sincerely. So the National Assembly, the leadership is not just about one single individual. We have all elected our representatives here and there. What exactly are they up to? What exactly are they doing? Sir, let me leave it at that point and we move on to other questions. And sir, I don't know whether your question will bring up the issue of volunteering. Remind me, there's something I want to say about that. Thank you, sir. I hope it's not my network.
It's not your network. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear now.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask a couple of other questions because on this platform, I want to give the privilege to those who are in this corporate setting or in any setting at all. That's by John Abraham. And then Lade Abioye is asking, an Ethiopian met me in London some time ago and told me that Nigeria is blessed all around and bad leadership as well. Please, sir, how far is this true? Great and impactful presentation. God bless you, sir. That's from Lade Abioye. All right. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I heard you. So I have to go back to John Abraham's question because I didn't hear you reading it, but I can hear it loud and clear. I can read it loud and clear. I can see it here. The visionary leadership and a visioning process, how does it? I think if this is the same John Abraham I know, he seems to have derived into some of my past works, visionary leadership and the visioning process. I owe that to Jim Collins in his book, Built to Last. That's where he spoke at length about the future you envision. And you can only envision a future when you have set the goal and the target. And that is what I mean by being visionary. And by the way, V is vision in VUCA. I know that some of us, we only know the VUCA that starts with volatility, uncertainty, what do you call it? Other thing like ambiguity. No, I don't know. The VUCA I know is vision, understanding, clarity, and agility. And without vision, like even it is in the scriptures, my people perish for lack of vision. A leader that is going somewhere, we have to start up. I have a young man on this call, Michael Ugu. Before we started campaigning for the FCIPM presidency at all, we sat down and we formulate where we are going. we came up with the Midas agenda. So a leader must have vision. However, in executing that vision, there could be issues. A lot of distractions on the way. But a leader must remain focused. That is where the word intentionality comes in. If a leader allows himself to be distracted, believe me, whether you are at the corporate level, whether you are at the local government level, whether you are at the community level, you become ineffective. You become ineffective. So let me quickly go on to Lade's question. Lade was trying to say that he met an Ethiopian some years ago who said, that question, I think something is missing in that question, who told me that Nigeria is blessed all around. I agree entirely with you on that one. And then bad leadership as well. I don't understand that statement. Please, how far?
He said that Nigeria is blessed all around, and the all around includes bad leadership.
Wow.
That's what he's saying.
Wow.
If I got him right.
Okay. There's no doubt. There's no.
It sounds ironic.
Yeah.
Bad leadership can be a blessing. So
there's no doubt we have bad leadership, but I want to keep pleading with us that who has seen gold in its original state, unattractive, but there is a way Nigerians come out shining. And even whatever we've been going through in 20 years of democracy, we are even more than 20 years now. We started this journey in 1999. Despite all that, I am telling you that Nigeria is going to get out of it. If myself and yourself, if we do not give up, if we do not say, if you can't beat them, join them. No, I'm not going to join them. I don't mind being the lone voice in the wilderness, screaming, prepare the way of the Lord. And I am saying this, I'm not boasting. I can't boast of anything except, for the grace of God. Yes, but then you will discover that every country has its own pocket of bad leadership here and there. And since we have chosen the route of democracy, can we join hands together? Can we come up? For instance, a senior brother of mine, I call him Elder, Mike Ichegboje, floated a platform, make Nigeria better. You need to see rather than people bringing ideas that will make Nigeria better, they've turned the place to a sentimental, where you bring tribal jingoism and all kinds of things. That is also, none of us on that platform is Ataso Rock or is in the National Assembly. We are pure, ordinary Nigerians. We could not even manage a WhatsApp platform until each and every one of us will begin to stand before the mirror and ask the question of me, of you, what am I contributing? What am I bringing to the table? That's one of our inspirations to have contested for the CIPM presidency. But because by the grace of God, in the next 12 months, we are bound to change the narrative of where our institute was going. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, can I plead with you and let us stand before the mirror. Let us actually examine our conscience. What am I doing about the case of this nation? Where am I affecting the life of this country? What am I contributing? There are some mundane things in our own corner. Some little things that we can do. But it's like you are thinking that what you are doing is a drop in the ocean. I am telling you, not rather than a drop, it's a stone in the ocean. You know, when you throw a pebble across water, the ripple effect. Just watch out for the ripple effect. That is what I want all of us to do. Thank you, sir. Next question, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mojeed. Simon Adedoyin saying to us, thank you, sir, Mr. Olusegun Mojeed. Great presentation and timely too. Thank you. There is not another question on the platform at the moment, in the chat room. Oh, that's a quick one here from Adeyanju Falari. He said, thanks for this great insights, for the great insights. What's your opinion as regards leaders that may claim not to be a part of the problem in our country, but are as well not doing anything? That is, keeping quiet. We have leaders with good moral standing in almost every sector in Nigeria, but we can't really feel the impact, just like the VO of the country.
You wanted to say VP. You wanted to say VP.
VP, I think it's VP of the country. I was wondering what's VO, in one of my trades, VO is voiceover. I hope that's not like the VP of the country. What's your advice for leaders, in this, in this situation so in this situation? Now, Ladi Abiyoye again.
Before you go into Ladi Abiyoye, sir, let me quickly respond to your Jew who happens to be a friend. Let me quickly respond to him that it's unfortunate I do not agree with him that the VP is not talking. The VP, if you know those, I am privileged to know closely those who work in the VP's team. You can't, it's not until you come out to harass. Hello. That's my friend from Scotland, Tosin. You can mute your mic. Now, I want to tell you the truth that, look, you can't just come out. It will be shipwrecking to your career if you come out and begin to disgrace your boss. And I want to say to everyone on this call, you must make your boss to shine. You must make your boss to shine. I know a lot of young people in the VP's team, and I know the kind of work they are doing on a regular basis. And they are really passionate like me and you about this country. So I wouldn't know what you are looking for from the VP. I wouldn't know. And some of you may think that it's because of the tech side of office. No, don't even look for that. Before you get to the VP, why don't you go to the chief spokesperson for the president, our own brother in the First Gospel Mission, Femi Adesina. But I can tell you that these people are working hard. They are working so hard to make this country better. That is my feeling, that is my opinion. And by God's grace, I'm the one having the microphone today. And I want to say that if you know what leadership is all about, you will know that it's not easy to govern a country of 200 people. You may also want to tell me who begged them. Well, sorry, they were not coerced, they were not forced. But I can tell you that for me, what I do for them is to pray for them. If I have any ways of criticizing them, I also know how I pass it on to them. So for me, you can't just single out the VP. It's not just fair. If you have been a class prefect, you will know that it's not easy to be a leader. And I'm telling you, because you have mentioned him, he is doing a great work. He's doing a great work. I don't know what his future ambition is, but he's a kind of leader that any day I would love to vote for. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Lade Abiyoye, thank you for winning again. Thanks for the appropriate response for making Nigeria great again. God bless you all. And then Remy Walein, I'm glad to hear that Nigeria will get out of this. We need this reassurance over and over again, even though it seems that there are no solutions in sight. Thank you very much, sir. I don't want us to go into the debate of the leadership context in Nigeria, although that is the elephant in the room. It seems it's an issue that will not go away because it's an issue that affects all of us. But
you know that, sir,
conscious of the fact.
You also know that I will not shy away from it.
Yeah.
So we can come back to the microcosm of the CIPM. Okay. Even we can do church leadership. I wouldn't mind.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mojeed. I know how passionate he is about what is going on in the country. So, but it's sufficient. The responses we have had from him. I'm going to ask him what we can read your profile, but that's not enough. We want to hear from you. Tell us your story. And it's on that note that we're going to close this. Can you briefly tell us your story from your background to to this place in very brief form. We can always pick up your LinkedIn profile. We can pick up your profile, Charter Institute, but we want to hear your story as told by you. Tell us your story. Thank you.
A quick one. I was born a little.
Sorry. Before that, Dr. Olusegun Adedayo. Not everybody can be leaders. Majority are followers.
Yes,
how can we be good followers to help bad leaders, as Daniel did? I think you can attend to that.
Yeah,
I want to give you that, and then you can tell us your story, and then we start cruising to a close. Thank you.
Yes, ma. Dr. Professor Olusegun Adedayo. Believe me, ma, I am of the Daniel generation. Where do we start from? Let's start from not eating the king's portion, from not soiling our hands, because of a pot of porridge. That's where we're going to start from. You're on this call, it has nothing to do with your religion. It has to do mostly with who are you. And that will link me to where I'm coming from, your background. Can you tell me confidently that if you find yourself in the position the National Assembly members are, this is not for Professor Adedayo, I'm just talking to all of us here. If you find yourself in their position, are you saying you are solid enough in your foundation that you will not compromise? Because I keep telling people, it is not when you get to the spot of the temptation that you begin to make up your mind whether you want to yield to temptation or not. You should have made up your mind from the onset. What my Niger Delta people say, you will have made up your mind, that you are not going to compromise. So if all of us on this call, are we sure if today you find yourself in a House of Rep or a Senate or do you know that people roll out the drums when they become special assistant to governors? The entire village comes around to say we want to wash it, our time don't come. Are you able to stop them on their track and say, which time has come? Which time has come? What are you sharing? Which national cake are you sharing? So let us again stand before the mirror, search our conscience. And I'm telling you by the grace of God, by the precious blood of Jesus, that where I am now is one of such tempting offices. All I'm just asking for is your prayers. You are on this call. I am telling you, I've made up my mind. I will not soil my hand with the king's meat. I will not dip my hand into the till, because we have a hope greater than where we are today. You're on this call, you are hearing me, there's a place called heaven. When you read Psalm 15, for you to get there, you've got to be clean. I know Jesus has cleansed us, but that does not give us the liberty to go soiling our hands. Dr. Paul Ibinoba, mute your microphone. So ladies and gentlemen, for me, that is how the followership can help the leadership. Once you have not soiled your hand, you can stand before the leadership and say, no, the way you are going is not good. But if you soil your hand, they just come back and blackmail you with something. Finish. Your mouth is shut forever. And the Lord God will help us. My background, ladies and gentlemen, I was born some 62 years ago by very humble parents. My father was a goldsmith, the best of his era. He trained a lot of people that we know. My mother was a petty trader who worked so hard, had enough money to go and build a house in Lagos. As we were growing up, that was in the Niger Delta, Ilaje. That's where we were born. My parents are Ijebu, so I'm an Ijebu man, but born and raised in the Niger Delta. I was in my days growing up, you can only move from one house to the other in Ilaje by paddling the canoe. For me to go to school, two people had to take me to school, one paddling the canoe, the other one's watching over me so that I don't jump into the water. In our days in Ilaje, there's only one car in the entire region, only one car owned by Obaye Kings of Ayetoro. But there are other boats and so on and so forth, owned by rich people and so on. But for us, we were paddling canoe. I came to Lagos maybe around the age of 13. And I lived in both Mushin and Tekwiburu. Tekwiburu is Campus Square. You can imagine, two dangerous places. But then the scripture says that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. So God was watching over me, because there's no way as a young man coming from the Niger Delta, staying in those two places, I had the choice of being swept off my feet to join the bad gang. And I did that in classes 1 and 2. I was joining the bad gang. Rather than going to school, they call it off fair in those days. I would branch to Rainbow and Jebako Cinema to watch movies. So my results, I mean, without saying, were coming in red. And when it's promotion time, they will push me. But they pushed me to class 3. At that point, a senior brother took over to watch over me. His name is Tunde Mojeed. He showed me that you can only pass very well when you read. From my class 3 in 1975, I skipped from all those 20th, 30th position to the 4th position first, and then 3rd position. I couldn't come first or second, so because I'm not like the daddy who say he's always coming first. I couldn't come first or second because there were 2 guys in front of me, David and Samson Ochua. They've been reading from their nursery school days. In fact, I think one of them is late now, but the other one, so one went to read medicine, the other one went to read engineering. And I found myself reading human resources from the University of Lagos. Before then, I had gone to Lagos Poly to do my A-levels. And then, all kinds of things. So I went to serve in Bauchi State. And it was in Bauchi State while I was serving, I decided that political science may not pay me, because while we were in the orientation camp, Shagari was overthrown by Buhari. And I said, this political science, will it still work for me? So I changed my course. I think we're still in camp. No. Yes, okay, December of another year, I think Babangida overthrew Buhari and so on and so forth. So it was why at the NYC that I made up my mind to go and read human resources, because I know that I've always been passionate about people. And then I came out of UNILAG. Somebody gave me my first shot at real job. That is late Chief S.A. Olusegun, who happens to come from my village, Odulewu. He gave me my first shot at human resources. So I worked in Bako for 4 years, holding the industrial relations portfolio. And well, from there, I moved on to maybe Wema Bank. And in the process, I changed all kinds of jobs. In 30 years, I've done about 7, 9 jobs. And in the process, garnering experience. One thing I have also done somewhere along the line, for about 30 years ago, I also joined FCIPM as a member of the institute. I also joined. And the work at FCIPM is basically volunteer. You've got to make yourself available. Volunteering, they don't pay us. You spend your money. So, and I started volunteering. I became the chairman of a chapter. A chapter is the smallest unit. Is a grassroots unit of CIPM. I was chairman of Apapa chapter in the year 2000. I was the chairman of Apapa chapter, but I couldn't even finish my chairmanship because I got a job in Wema Bank. I had to leave for the island, so I handed over my chairmanship to another colleague of mine. So from Wema Bank, I moved on to when telecoms was coming in. I joined the then V Mobile, the one that has changed name very times. So, but very many times. I left V Mobile when they became Zain. But in the middle of all this, in 1994, my wife and I had formed a company, an HR consulting company called Bezalel Consulting. So 6 years after forming that company and running it, I had to hand it over to my wife. I pleaded with her to resign her job at SGS and come and manage it because I was going back to paid employment. And she honorably agreed. So when in 2009, I finished with the telecoms, I was going to come back to Bezalel. I wrote to her, I said, look, let me come back and offer you technical expertise, that you are still the boss. By the way, my wife is still the boss. So to offer you technical expertise that have gone around the world, because it was after I went back to paid employment and then went to telecoms in 2004, that the exposure came. I traveled all over the world, training or facilitating sessions, conferences upon conferences. So by 2009, I was comfortable enough. I came back to Bezalel, and since then, yes, the boss lady. Yes, since then I've been jointly with my wife managing Bezalel Consulting. And last year, people came to me and said, Mr. Mojeed, what are you doing? And I told them, I didn't know, innocently. I told them what I was doing. I was actually reading. It was around 12 midnight. I was reading. And I told the elders, I am reading. They said, who's asking you whether you are reading or not? What are you doing concerning CIPM? We need a rescuer. That is the expression, in case you're on this call. A rescuer. I said, when did I become Jesus Christ? And so I said, everybody should go and pray. They came back 2 weeks later and said, have you made up your mind? I said, well, we have a release, because myself and my wife, we prayed. And I said, we have a release, and let us go for the election. And that is how I was nominated, and we went for the election. And on May 26th, in fact, God gave us victory at the beginning of this year. The 31st of December, stroke 1st of January, God has given us Psalm 20 as our theme for the year, especially verse 5, and has declared the year for us, our year of our victory. Great abundance in the Lord God, our victory. Great abundance in the Lord God, our victory, combining what our church has declared with what we have. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is where God granted us victory as far back as January, and that victory manifested on May 26th. What do I want of you? I don't know why Pastor Tunde wanted me to do all this, but we need your prayers. We need your prayers. I plead with you. We need your prayers. That's one thing we should do for leadership. That is one thing the scripture has asked of us to do for our leadership. I know we can criticize. I know some of us are armchair critics. I know some of us are real critics. But one thing that the scripture has asked of us for our leaders is to pray. Keep upholding us. We will not disappoint you in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olusegun Mojeed. I'm going to ask a question. Everybody can see that it's from rags to riches. He said he's not a pastor. I don't know what pastors do. If all he's been doing is not preaching, I really don't know. Anyway, that's an aside. Now, like the question I want to ask is human resource as a discipline in the era of technology. I used to think, maybe I still share that opinion, that the greatest resource in the world is the human being. But technology is changing quite a whole lot. We're in the era of machine learning, artificial intelligence, and you name it. What do you see from your, in quotes, crystal ball of the future of human resources, or human as a discipline in the context of technology? That is the last question I'm going to ask you. And then after that, we can then have, what we call our after party, in which you can say hi. But before you answer that question, I'd like to say a huge thank you. If I start, we will not be able to finish. There are all of us distinguished men and women that have joined us this afternoon to have this important conversation. This crucial conversation is a long list. This place is star-studded. Mr. Olusegun Mojeed may need to help me to specifically mention some people, but I've seen great minds here, thought leaders, fantastic professionals, entrepreneurs, academics. I want to say a huge thank you for making Touchstone Business Sustainability every Saturday in, Saturday out, a feast of the intelligence, something that you look forward to every Saturday. And, we're saying next Saturday, you're going to join us for an important conversation again, as we bring your way another distinguished person. So, Mr. Olusegun Mojeed, I must say a big thank you for your time. Thank you for all that you have shared. Thank you for your measured responses, because I know that you are a very passionate person. You've been extremely presidential. I'm glad, extremely presidential. I'm very glad at the grace that you have demonstrated in answering some of the questions. And I tell you, it's still going to be volatile. People are divided, hugely divided, as to what the president is doing, the way he's leading us in this country. And they have on both sides, they have reasons. They have logic to back up what they are saying. But you have been very, very careful and been measured in your responses, asking for prayer for president as well as for yourself. So technology and HR, in the context of technology, will human beings still matter? Will machine take over completely? Are we at risk? What is the future? Can you see it from an HR professional? And how will that help you to shape the future of CIPM as the new president? Thank you. That will be our last question. And I'm tempted to start mentioning names, but please, I plead with you because I won't be able to mention all the names. But good guys, good ladies are here, men and women of giants in their right.
I know that this your platform is a Touchstone platform. You have been measured. I like that. But for me, it's very simple. My CIPM colleagues are here. I greet you all. You know it. Thank you so much. You are always there. I can't mention it, but I need to mention 3 names. I am seeing staring at me, or maybe 4. John Abraham earlier on, I've mentioned his name. Elder Yomi Akonde is on this call. Is my born any day, I will mention him. Sylvester AJ is on this call. I will mention him. And lastly, I'm reserving a name for the last, the woman and her husband who provided us our first shelter after our marriage more than 30 years ago. Mrs. I don't know whether to call her doctor, elder, deaconess, Ibukun Odushote is also on this call. I'm going to reach all of you one by one because the investigation for my presidency is slated for July 14, and your names are already in the book, and you will all be invited to that wonderful ceremony, and then we will recognize ourselves more. Technology and HR. I want us to listen very carefully that our response as HR practitioner is not of fear. They call it metathesiophobia. We do not need to be metathesiophobic because technology is coming. This technology, and artificial intelligence, they've always been with us. If your car used to be, you wind it down this way, but now you press something and the glass goes down, it's already artificial intelligence. In operation, I'm telling you. And it keeps growing. Don't forget that those who are making these things, machine learning and so on, they are people. As jobs are disappearing, listen to me very carefully. And I want us to read good literature and authentic literature. As jobs are disappearing, new jobs are coming up. About 3 months ago, a client gave us a load of jobs. Let me confess to you. Of the 18, 19, 20 jobs, I'm only familiar with 20% of those jobs. The rest, 80%, are new jobs I've never come across. I've never heard their names. AG, for instance, they are now asking for drone managers. Who knew years ago that there's going to be something of that nature? I have about 5 slides loaded with this kind of thing. So that is why in our tenure and running on the platform of Midas, we've stated it there, for instance. The S in our Midas is about scaling up. And what scaling up means is that we're going to keep our people aware of what we call reskilling. What other things in the light of new jobs that are coming up, what can we do? And if you say, well, because you are 60 and above 60 and you want to take life easy, fine. But let me say this, sir, that March 2020, we had the index case of COVID-19 in Nigeria. If it's not late February. And of course, there was this lockdown. By April, May, for those, my colleagues who we moved. We moved before you know it. We went for a training, online training, on virtual instructor-led training. And the next thing that follows that we acquired our platform. I know a lot of people went for Zoom. Some people went for Webinar Jam. We in Bezali, we went for Cisco WebEx. And thank God, we immediately started contacting our clients. And I'm saying that there were clients in 2020 who were doing training, virtual instructor-led VILT. And thank God, the grace of God and their patronage sustained us. And we have continued in 2021. However, our clients are now asking that we should come back to brick and mortar, which we are doing responsibly, which we are doing observing all COVID-19 protocols. So, ladies and gentlemen, technology and humans will reside side by side for a long time to come. However, as your institute, we will keep you constantly updated, we will keep you constantly aware. Our conference for this year is coming up in Abuja. We're doing hybrid. That is part of technology. People who want to come physically will come to our venue in Abuja in November. Those who don't want to come, who don't want to go out, maybe by the reason of you're above 60, they stay online with us. We are going to accommodate everybody. That is using technology. It's not by the way, metatissophobia means that unnecessary fear. Terrible fear of what probably will never happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, technology is meant to complement, is meant to facilitate the capabilities and capacity of the human spirit. That is why we preach agility. That's why we preach resilience. It's only in 2017 I went back to Yale. I was almost 60 when I went to Yale. In fact, when I look at the class, I was almost the oldest person except for two other participants. There were participants all over the world. And I humbled myself. I practiced vulnerability on a daily basis and acquired new learning. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our reaction to technology. It's called reskilling. Reskilling. Thank you very much.
Mr. Olusegun Mojeed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. If I knew that you are going to turn this to a CIPM platform, I will have asked you for a whole lot of money, talking to, rallying the troops, and all of that. Once again, happy congratulations to you. And is it Wednesday that you said that you are going to be, is it instituted or installed, or what's the name for it? So, I mean, we wish you all the best as you envision.
Wednesday, July 14th. The invitations are getting ready. I'm sure Mr. Pastor Tunde will have his own.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. High privilege. Now we have come to the end of Touchstone BSS 48 with Olusegun Mojeed, the President and Chairman of Governing Council of CIPM, in the saddle. Thank you for the knowledge you have shared. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for sharing part of your experience, your life experience with us. And all our participants, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a big thank you for spending your afternoon with us. We look forward to seeing you next Saturday, same time, 3 p.m. And please tell others about this. It's an opportunity to learn, opportunity to connect, an opportunity to, to move forward in a world that is very dynamic, that is changing, although very chaotic at the same time. So we have the next 5 minutes to interact. You can unmute your mic, say hi, shout out to Mr. Mojeed, or shout out to a friend.
There are a lot of people here. There are a lot of people, so we can use that opportunity also to begin to mention names. My wife is on this call. My wife is on this call, my prayer partner and a backbone. So don't forget, Grace Majekodumi is here. I saw Simon Adedoyin earlier. Ladies and gentlemen, all of you, we appreciate you. Monisa De Olokora, those are Ikorodu Oga people. I've recognized, okay, Acha is here. So, sir, it's a full house, Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so